President Barrow collects the voting ticket ahead of December elections. Women Affairs Minister pays visit to Serekunda market women vendors. Women entrepreneurs urge fellow women to be business-minded. This and more coming on Gambia 24. Hello, this is Gambia 24 News with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. As hundreds of people queued in different polling stations across the country to obtain their voters' cards, President Barrow also joined the fray on Wednesday. His registration ahead of the December presidential election was done at the Makati Square in Banjul on the 5th day since the process began. More in this report by Binta Jallo.
From early hours of the morning, voter registration centers across the country could be spotted registering people to affirm their eligibility to taking part in the December 4th presidential elections. This forthcoming election will avail Gambians to either choose a new leader or extend the mandate of the current President Adama Barrow. The president, who secured his participation ticket, also called on Gambians to get their voters' card in order to be decision makers in the country.
If you are part of a society, you should be part of the decision-making body. If you are registered, you can make the decision. That means you will select people who will represent you. So we are calling on every Gambian, especially youths, especially first-time voters. Let them come out in their numbers and register. This population, the population of Gambia, is about 60-65% youths. So we expect the number of youths registering to be very, very high.
The issuance of the voter's card is governed with strict regulations powered by the Independent Electoral Commission. Among the key eligibility criteria include proof of citizenship through the representation of one of the national documents such as birth certificate, identity card, traveling passport, or attestation from the village alcalo. The Gambian leader used the opportunity to urge the public to follow due process in the acquisition of the voter's card.
And we will want IEC also to be very, very friendly, to be very, very accommodating, so that people will come without fear and register. And we advise also political parties or agents. There is a code of conduct that we expect from every political party. Nobody should intimidate anybody. We are all Gambians. We are all equal in this country. That's why everybody, you register once only and you vote once only.
The registration exercise followed the award of $3 million a contract for the supply of election materials by the Gambian Public Procurement Authority in February. As registration goes on, complaints of long queues have been echoed by many people since the beginning of the process. These, according to some, is caused by what appears to be mechanical failures with some of the systems used for the production of the cards. The chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission explained some of the challenges on the lack of certain facilities.
Very, very few, because these machines, they have been overused, because normally you should register about 120 maximum, but they go up to 200. So it heats up, and auxiliary generators also have some connection with that.
The last time citizens raced to the polls during the presidential elections was in 2016, one of the most celebrated in the history of the country. Yahya Jammeh, who ruled the country for 22 years, suffered a surprise defeat by Adama Barrow in the country's presidential elections. For iAfrica News, Binta Jallo.
Now, the Minister of Women and Children Affairs, Fatou Kinte, along with the Minister of Local Government and Lands, visited women vendors at the Serekunda market to hear the challenges they go through daily. Their visit came following our recent story on women vendors at the market who highlighted numerous challenges they face, including lack of a proper place to sell their products. This is a file in this report.
Women vendors at the Serekunda market continue to cry over lack of enough space to sell their products, as KMC officers always drive them away from their normal selling points. To address these challenges faced by women vendors, the Minister of Women and Children Affairs, Fatou Kinte, visited the market to receive first-hand information from these struggling women on some of the difficulties they encounter at the market. Madam Kinte said the complaints from these women are a concern to her ministry.
So it's a big concern to all of us as a government, because these women earn income to help take care of their families. So we are here on a fact finding to see what exactly are the concerns, which have already been expressed by the women. So we'll go back now and sit together with KMC and try to see what we can do to survey the situation. Because at the end of the day, we are here to support the women and the entire community. I'm the Minister of Women's Affairs, and I'm very concerned about this, because anything that affects women's welfare is a concern to the ministry. So we'll sit together as a government and come up with strategies to address the issues.
As these women vendors blamed KMC for driving them away from their normal selling point daily, the Minister of Local Governments, Musa Drame, promised to engage the Kanefi municipality to make some changes towards the issue.
Particularly with the police moving them from their places, one place to the other, from 11 o'clock upwards. I will take it up with the municipality, and then hopefully when we dialogue, that we will realize some changes there.
Serekunda Market is one of the busiest markets in the Gambia, where over thousands of women sell on the streets due to lack of enough space, as they claimed. Lack of enough space and forcefully driving away by KMC every day at 11 o'clock has made sellings difficult for these women, majority of whom are depending on their daily earnings to feed their family. However, following the minister's visit, there are hopes that the situation for these women in the market are likely to change. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
The leader of the United Democratic Party, lawyer Usainu Dabo, says his party will revisit land tenure systems in the country, especially in the Combos, when they take up the mantle of leadership. According to the UDP flag bearer, his party started the struggle against Jammeh, and it will soon be clear who should Gambians say when it comes to face with political rivals. More in this report.
Inadequate legal frameworks and weak enforcement of existing laws governing land ownership have resulted in spiraling conflicts. The escalation of tensions over land disputes in the last 4 years produced deadly outcomes in some cases. But UDP's Usainu Dabo says his government will revisit land tenure systems in the country, especially within the Combos. Problems of land in this country, particularly in the Combos, are still persisting. I do not say the government cannot use people's lands for public purposes. That is not a problem. That is for the benefit of all. But you take Mbai Kunda's land and give plots to Usainu Dabo, Ibrahim Adiba and Ajiyama Sek and say you are doing allocation. Someone's property, you want to show your generosity through that? Land issues need to be revisited. We will look into land tenure systems in the country. Dabo says UDP led the struggle against Jammeh's dictatorship, assuring that it will be clear to everyone as to who real Gambians are when he comes face to face with rivals.
We were the people who were struggling to liberate this country. Today, after getting rid of Yahya Jammeh,
we were the people struggling to liberate this country. Today, after getting rid of Yahya Jammeh, others turn round to say, why should anybody make a choice for the United Democratic Party to lead this country? If we have a face-to-face talk, then we will know who the real Gambians are. For one to be born here does not make you a Gambian, as some were born in Gambia but are not Gambians. Those who suffered all indignities to liberate Gambia are the real Gambians. There has been incidents of land disputes since the coming into office of the new administration in 2017, and the problem has since escalated. The current system of land governance and administration is still based on the 76-year-old Land Act from 1945, which was partially revised in 1991. Multiple mechanisms for land transfer as well as dispute resolutions through common law, Islamic and customary law have critical gaps that are causing challenges in land governance. Reporting for iAfrica TV, this is Omar Ahmadu Toure.
In that report by Omar Toure will take us to a quick break, and we'll be back with the rest of the news on Gambia 24. Stay tuned.
Following the announcement by the Independent Electoral Commission, the IEC, of the dates for the general voter registration scheduled from the 29th of May to 11th July 2021, the National Council for Civic Education (NCCE) reminds the public that voter registration is an integral part of the electoral process, as it is key to franchise as stated in Section 39 of the Constitution, and hence a civic right and a duty for all eligible Gambians. The NCCE therefore encourages every eligible citizen to fully participate in this crucial national exercise, as it is the basis for any credible and participatory election. The National Council for Civic Education informs the public that to register and acquire a voter's card in the upcoming general voter registration exercise, one has to prove your Gambian citizenship by producing one of the following documents as stated in Section 12 of the Elections Act: birth certificate, ID card, passport, or alcalo or district chief attestation. As the Gambia prepares for this very important national exercise, the National Council for Civic Education reminds the public to stay away from any altercation and refrain from the use of abusive language, provocative actions, intimidations, thugs, and physical confrontation at all times, as these contravene the laws of the Gambia. The public is encouraged to follow due process to seek redress when the need arises during the period to ensure that peace and stability prevail throughout the process. Voter's card is your key to franchise. Register to vote and vote wisely. This message is brought to you by the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, with support from the United Nations Development Programme.
Welcome back, and this is still Gambia 24 News. Now, most of the stalls at this year's trade fair are occupied by youth and women entrepreneurs. Speaking to iAfrica TV, the women entrepreneurs at the trade fair urged their fellow women to be business-minded so as to set up their own businesses and become powerful in the society. Amanda has the rest of that.
Women become entrepreneurs to gain access to financial opportunities, reduce poverty, improve their life, and maximize profit. In the Gambia, the concept of women's economic empowerment has gained lots of attention in the last few years, with business enterprises at the forefront. However, in this year's trade fair, organized by the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry at the Independence Stadium, most of the stalls are occupied by youth and women. Abibachili Tambedu of Sempera Enterprise urged Gambian women to establish their own business in the country.
I don't want to see women sitting down doing nothing. I am always upset with women who sit down and fold their hands. You have to get up and do something. Don't wait for anyone because no one is perfect. If you don't try, you won't be able to do it. If you don't have a business, try to think and associate yourself with business-minded people, so that you can be inspired. These products you are seeing, we can all produce them here and sell them. Before you go outside to hustle, hustle in your country first.
Debatal, the CEO of Waxark, believes that women are versatile and are able to blend both house chores and scale works.
am doole te bu amul dara lu ñoo seet ñu am ñu leen dimbali te fi mu ne ni ñu ngi dimbali jigéen ñi pour ñu liggéey.
I am urging the women to have their own business and work. Now that we have people in this country who are empowering women, all we want is to have power in the society so that we will be able to take care of our families and ourselves. Women can blend both the house chores and other skill work because skill work is very important. You can even be in your room and doing your work using the local materials.
Ajefatu Bob, the owner of Mboma Jack Enterprise, is one of the Gambian entrepreneurs whose business focuses on only homemade products.
We have
chakri, porridge, millets here, and all these products are made in the Gambia. We want to promote our country to show people that we are also doing our own work, though it is not easy work because you will not want to sell your products to someone and the person will later return it due to spoilage. So we are always mindful of all those things because the reason for selling all these products is to satisfy our customers.
Several organizations have been set up to help women entrepreneurs in the Gambia, in which some of the organizations arrange coaching sessions. However, women entrepreneurs in the Gambia do face several constraints, and these problems are compounded by the fact that there are ordinary Gambians who simply do not believe in quality of local suppliers. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
Male-dominated industries and occupations are particularly vulnerable to reinforcing masculine stereotypes that make it even more difficult for women to excel in them. Women continue to encounter challenges in these industries as most of the ventures dominated by men are seen by the society as a no-go area for women. But a 20-year-old girl in the Gambia is breaking the barrier as she believes that harassment from the public for doing a male-dominated work will not distract her from achieving her dream. More in this report.
Women have been trying to break away from norms and traditional standards set by society. They have been marching for equal rights and fighting for their rightful place in the world, especially in a job market dominated by men. In the Gambia, society brands women who are into male-dominated areas such as carpentry and masonry as funny and ridiculous. Sophie Sarr, a 20-year-old girl, says she laughs at society ridiculing her for being a female masonry worker. To Sophie, nothing can stop her from practicing the career she chose for herself despite being publicly harassed.
So si nekkee bulee afrit bulee xool boti nit comme doo dem fen.
When you do this kind of work, don't be afraid what people will say or how they will look at you. If you mind those things, you won't progress. I, Sophia, I'm not concerned about what people say because I choose this work for myself. Nobody forces me. People always talk about me. Sometimes people will harass me because of my job, but I don't mind them. I just laugh it off because I know it's my job. No need to stand and confront people. Then I'll be waiting for my time, and I will never get angry either.
The underlying assumptions surrounding gender roles has had a negative effect on organizational culture, putting females at a disadvantage. Sophie says one of the challenges she is faced with in her work is people not willing to pay or not paying her services at all. Sophie also encouraged her mates who have learned the academic side of masonry to make best use of it by implementing what they learn in the classroom.
Gis naa lu bari loo xam ne lu metti la sun kaw parce que am na yenn saa da nga liggéeyaa nit ki du la fay.
As we speak, it is difficult to see many women doing this type of job in the Gambia, though we have some of them. I was in the same class with some other females, and not all of them ended it because they did not want to go to the field to implement what they learned. You cannot only stay with the hard papers, no. You need to go out to the field to do the job. I have seen many things which are really a challenge to us. Because sometimes you will work with someone and the person will not pay you. Sometimes you will call to make a follow-up for your pay, but they won't respond or even reject your calls. Or you have a contract with someone and nothing is left but to get paid. They will be twisting and turning you.
Meanwhile, Sophie's boss, Abdullah Boy, CEO of Wisdom Construction and Business Enterprise, describes Sophie as a hard-working individual.
Since
I started working with her, I discovered a willingness in her. It is something very rare to find among her mates doing such kind of jobs. I was working with many others,
when I was at Inside Training as a center manager. But I have not seen someone so kind like her. One thing about her is that she does most of the jobs given to her, no matter the type. She always has her own way of making it work. She needs more encouragement and motivation in what she is doing. So the only way Safi can be encouraged and motivated is to support her to further her studies to higher levels, as she already has a certificate in construction.
Sofisa did many other jobs like plumbing, electrician and many others before she finally took masonry as a career in which she has been engaging for the past 4 years. The 20-year-old thanked her family for allowing her to take masonry as a career, as she recognizes their support since the beginning. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. In that report on a 20-year-old Sophie who is breaking the barrier into the male-dominated venture brings us to the end of Gambia 24 News. I am Mariama Cham. Thanks for your company and do have a good night.